So hey everybody, how's it going? I was just reading through the comments there on the YouTube, and one from Michael about long COVID and recovery from long COVID, and would I share a bit about how I recovered or whatever. And I've been thinking quite deeply about it. Like, I mean, I don't know what to share because I don't really know how I recovered. All I know is what I did, and whether that'll work for somebody else or not. Like, I wouldn't want to give people false advice. Would be I'd be afraid, to put people on the wrong path. I can tell you what happened to me, and what I did to deal with it. So about 3 weeks or 4 weeks after a COVID infection, I began to feel really unwell in myself or whatever. I came home. I was on holidays in Spain. I came home. I went to the doctor. They totally couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, because I had this terrible wheeze, but my oxygen levels were really good, and I had what looked like asthma, but just didn't make sense as asthma because my oxygen levels were so high and all the rest. Um, it took about 3 weeks for that to develop into what they call chronic fatigue syndrome. And that meant I literally couldn't make it up and down the stairs at home. Like, and when you say that to people, they kind of go, "What do you mean?" Like, I mean, it was literally that debilitating that to sit up in the bed and to sit out and get my feet out onto the ground was exhausting. Um, and then the neurological symptoms started. So there's stuff in my head. I began to become really forgetful. I had tinnitus, which is like ringing in your ears constantly, and it nearly drove me bananas. Then I developed insomnia, so I didn't get a wink of sleep for nearly 12 months, until eventually I got another infection. I developed bilateral pneumonia, which nearly killed me. And just the team that were working with me during that were absolutely excellent. And by that time, kind of, because at the start nobody really even believed long COVID was a real thing or whatever, so you were like, you wouldn't even tell people what was wrong with you because they'd think you were an idiot or whatever. So they were fantastic, and they really just helped me to get back on my feet as far as I could. What I did then was I got a wearable from Garmin. It kind of tracked on my vitals or whatever, and I took my first walk just after last Christmas, and I walked for 250 meters, and that might not seem like a lot to some people, but that day for me was like it was a celebration. I was like, I can't believe I made that far, and I have to thank my great friend Dave Tilley, who just encouraged me all the way. I mean, every day I would text Dave and say, I made it this far today, I made it that far, you know. Um, but rest was crucial. It was like kind of learning to be in tune with your own body and knowing when you were just too exhausted to do anything and just going to bed. So I think in total, like it's been 2 years, over 2 years. Would have been March 2 years, so it's 2.5 years since I got sick, and I've probably been recovering since just after Christmas. I still tire easily. I'm certainly not the person I used to be. I am not, definitely not as strong. My balance is not as good and stuff like that. Um, but I think the most important thing was just kind of believing that you would get well, like hope, because there was a year there where I really thought this is it. I'm not going to get any better. I'm going to be left like this. I'm just going to be stuck in this bed for the rest of my life, and that just was miserable. Like. Um, But the team I got, it was in the Mater. I got sick in Dublin, so I ended up in the Mater, and the team I got there were fantastic. And the SHO was like, do you sleep? And I was like, no, I never sleep. And she was like, if we can't get you asleep, you're never going to get well. Like, and I was like, what can I do about that? So they found a combination of drugs that put me asleep, and I'm still on that same combination, right? So I get to sleep every night, and once I started to sleep, I started to recover. And then I started to read up on sleep and how important sleep is, and it's not like something you kind of it's not like a want. It's something your body actually needs to sleep. Like, I mean, there's a reason why they use sleep deprivation as a form of torture, right? Because you go completely cuckoo when you don't have it. Um, but just to the people who are out there who may still be suffering, like, there is actually hope. Like, I thought I was banjoed. Like, I really, like, I live in a kind of like a two up, two down, old fashioned farmhouse, and I would struggle to make it from my bedroom to the kitchen. And then the idea of having to make a meal, like to make food, that was just totally overwhelming. Like, it's like, oh my God, I've got to get all this stuff and do these things. Just is incredible. Like, if I ended up with my 88-year-old dad looking after me, instead of the other way around, right? Um, so that's it. Like, I don't know what to say. I don't want to mislead people. Like, it's a tough road, you know. Um, I took these tiny little walks. That's what I did, and I just kept taking them when I could, and when I couldn't, I didn't. Do you know what I mean? And even of late now, with trying to get all the business and everything started and the website and all that up and running, my tinnitus has come back, because I'm under pressure, constantly working. I find screen time very difficult. Um, there's no doubt that, I mean, they have the PET scans to show, I think they're called PET scans, to show the effect that it had on the brain, right? So in some people, the virus got under the blood-brain barrier and it got into the brain, and it just damaged those neurological pathways. Um, like, funny things, like, I would be able to tell you what a thing was, but I couldn't think of the name of it. Like, what was the word? Like, I would know what it did, and I'd be able to describe it and everything else, but I couldn't recall the actual name for the object or whatever. So it was kind of a very, very strange kind of phenomenon. But it's not a new thing. Like viral illnesses have produced these kind of long versions of themselves for years, and actually SARS-CoV-1, there's long COVID from that. I found out subsequently. There's a whole bunch of people in Argentina who never recovered because Argentina got absolutely wiped out with COVID-1, like, and that's why there's this drug Ampicillin, and that's the only place I think you can get it, right? It's just because it was to try and help those people. Um, but like most things in life that people don't understand, they rubbish it, right? They say, oh no, it's bullshit. Like, I got COVID and I was grand. Yeah, but not everybody's the same. Like, lots of people got COVID and were fine, but lots of people got COVID and died. So so that lots of people got COVID and got this long version of it. It's not surprising at all. Um, yeah. So I don't know what I'd say is find someone to talk to because it's hell. Like like uh, it totally changed my life. Like, when I got out of bed and I was able to walk around, and I remember the first time going fishing, I was delighted with myself. I was like, Jesus Christ, like, yes, I'm back, you know. Um, and that's why I changed career, because I said, uh, you don't know what's going to happen to you in this life, and you could spend your life doing something that just you're doing it just because for the money and to pay the bills and da da da, instead of taking a risk and go and do something you love and do something you're passionate about, you know. Um, and that's why I was so upset, you know, why I attacked the other day. It's like just like, oh, and anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, so that's it. And anybody who has long COVID, by the way, feel free to message me if I can help you in any way. I will, you know, because we kind of have to stick together. We have to help each other. Like, I, there's a great community on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. Although I think a lot of people have left it since. I haven't been on it as much. In fairness, I was on it a lot when I was really sick. Because I found a group of people who were also sick in the same way I was, and then I was able to relate to them, and I didn't feel so alone. And you know, you'd be able to chat in the bed on X. You know, you'd be chatting to people about your symptoms or how you were feeling, or you know, if you'd had a good or a bad day or whatever. You know, so that's it. Like, I don't really have any advice. Like the long COVID clinics were absolutely useless. Like, I mean, my nearest one was Cork, right? I mean, I couldn't make it to the kitchen, never mind make it to Cork. Like, it was just ridiculous. They just put these things in place, and they put all the doctors that were in them were respiratory doctors. But sure, I didn't have a respiratory problem. I had a neurological problem. Problems in my head. It wasn't in me lungs or anything else, and it was causing all the other difficulties. And I have been left with, like, I have a lot of pain in my back and stuff and all that stuff, and I have a form of arthritis, but thankfully I started injections for that, and they've been really, really good. Like my left arm was stuck at about, sort of, I know you can't really see, but look at about that level, and I can now like reach right up, right? So, and that's only after 2 weeks of this medication. So, um, you know, I've been incredibly lucky, and I'm incredibly grateful. And there are a few people out there, and they know who they are, who stood by me and did shop and all sorts of stuff that I couldn't do for myself. Um, so I hope that proves helpful to somebody. You know, I know that certainly I am in touch with several members of the fishing community, guys on Instagram, who also got long COVID. You know, and well, absolutely, I'm trying not to curse. Sorry, but they were in really bad shape. Like, you know, and they try and go fishing, and their legs would give up or whatever. I mean, I remember going out with Brad last year in the boat. You know, my hand cramped, and it just totally went into this claw. And I remember him looking at me, just going, "Jesus Christ, what is wrong?" Like, you know. But that was it. It had an incredible impact, and I still don't think that they really understand what caused it. There's certainly no cure for it, you know. Um, for me, it was very, 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 very gentle exercise. Like, and I mean very gentle. I mean, I'd have the wearable, and the minute my heart rate got over elevated, I'd just stop, and I'd say, right, that's it. I've done enough, you know. I mean, like, I started at 250 meters, and I stayed at 250 meters for a good month. You know what I mean? Just walking around this little tiny. I was living in. My brother was good enough to give me his apartment in Dublin, you know, and I was living there, and they had a little square, little whatever, like, you know, green space, and I'd do one lap every day, like so. Um, but that in itself was a huge achievement, like, you know. It was like, okay, I'm out and I'm up and I'm doing something, like, and then I just have to go back and lie on the couch or the bed and whatever. And I watched every program on Netflix twice, I'd say. But sure, like, I couldn't even really concentrate enough to watch them. It was just noise or whatever. And and it would help then with the tinnitus because you couldn't hear it so badly or whatever. But yeah, so that's it. That's what I did, and if I can help anybody, if you're suffering with long COVID and that, please feel free to give me a shout, and if I can help you, I surely will. So thanks everybody, and tight lines, and we'll get back to the fishing tomorrow. I'm nearly there with the website, thank God. Oh, it's just like one, you know, have to put in each product and all da. It's a lot of work. Like I have total respect for guys who are wizards at it, you know. If you're like me and you're not a wizard, it's really slow going. But anyway, I'm getting there. We're getting it done. So tight lines, everyone, and conditions are looking a bit better for the weekend. So hopefully we get some good fish, because the fishing this year has been it's been tight. Let's put it that way. It's been tight. But hopefully it picks up. So tight lines. Mind yourselves.